Hello everybody, a couple of things before I really get into the main topic of this video. I'm not going to do a full-fledged preview of Extreme Rules because I just ran out of time. But I am going to watch the show because, normally I don't watch the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania unless it's like last year where there's like a huge attraction like Brock Lesnar's return to pay-per-view. It's like, wow, I really want to see that. Yeah, but I'm going to watch it this year because it feels so far removed from WrestleMania that it feels like enough time has passed to where I'm not being bombarded with constant pay-per-views. WrestleMania feels like it was eons ago. I think this is the latest the next pay-per-view has come after WrestleMania, which, good. I'm going to check out Extreme Rules, and I'll probably have a review for it early next week. Probably on Monday. What else? Is there anything else? Well, Raw was, really boring this week, so I don't have a whole lot to say. I actually fell asleep during the opening segment of the dance-off. I caught the tail end of it, but I was like, man, that thing really dragged. And I felt like the whole show dragged. This is one of those shows where I really felt the 3 hours. The only thing I liked was the Shield match, and they even kind of fucked that up with the clusterfucky ending. And their typical booking of, oh, well, we don't want to have John Cena lose, but we kind of sort of want to keep the Shield intact, but we can have him lose by DQ as like the typical namby-pamby type of booking. Which, if they didn't want to have John Cena or the Shield definitively lose, why even book the match? I would have had Ryback interfere and let the Shield sweep him. That's what I would have done, but I'm a very heel-centric guy, so that's the way my mind works. But, whatever. I mean, Raw was a drag this week. And last week's Impact was better than usual, but still not great. But there's one thing that happened on Impact that has really caught fire in the wrestling media lately, and that is the Christy Hemme Austin Aries incident. Mark Madden's talked a lot about it, and a lot of people, within the wrestling media are talking about it extensively as well. And so I thought, what, fuck it, I'll just throw my 2 cents in. And I should note, and if you didn't see the segment, basically what happened was Christy Hemme botched the announcement. She announced Bobby Roode and Austin Aries as Christopher Daniels and Kazarian. I don't know how you make that mistake, but I'll forget it. I mean, it's an honest mistake. I don't know how you would confuse Christopher Daniels for Kazarian. Or maybe TNA's theme songs are so bad that she just didn't know the difference. I don't know. But, it's honest mistakes. I can live with that. I remember when Lillian Garcia first started, she was fucking up all the time. Go listen to Lillian Garcia in 2000. She made a lot of mistakes to the point that they actually made it part of the storylines some of the times because it was just way too noticeable. But and who knows, TNA might make a storyline out of this. I don't know. But anyway, she botched the announcement, and Austin Aries got into her face and kind of backed her into the corner of the ring and made her give the right announcement. And then he mounted the corner while she was still pinned into the corner and looked like he had his crotch in her face while he posed on the turnbuckle. This is an act that has been labeled as sexual harassment on live television. Well, I think there isn't Impact taped on like an hour delay or something like that, so it's not technically live, but, whatever. And there are a lot of opinions going on there about what happened. And I'll be honest, when I first watched it, I didn't really think anything of it because I was kind of only half paying attention. When I get bored while watching a wrestling show, and it's amazing that wrestling fans watch a show when they're knowingly bored. I was, honest to God, sitting on my computer playing Super Mario Crossovers, which if you've never played that, it's a Flash game where they basically add a bunch of NES characters to Super Mario Brothers, the original Super Mario Brothers, like Link and Samus and Simon from Castlevania and Mega Man and so many others. And the Contra guys in there. And it's amazing how much harder the game is with the different characters because, only Mario and Luigi can jump on top of the Goombas and shit. And most of the other characters can't do that, which is like, well, shit, that practically renders Buzzy Beetles invincible, but to some characters, unless you're playing Mario and Luigi. But that's neither here nor there. And yes, I was playing that game also extensively during Raw this week. And it's amazing that wrestling fans will knowingly watch a show when they're bored. We're just masochists. That's just what it is. But during the Austin Aries Christy Hemme segment, or that whole thing, I was kind of only half paying attention, and it sounded like she laughed to me, so I didn't really think anything of it. Until it started breaking on the internet. And then I rewatched it, this time focusing my full attention on it, and it was like, yeah, she laughed, but she also looked kind of uncomfortable after it was done, too. So it was like, ooh, okay. Maybe it didn't come off so well. And I do have to comment on this. On the internet, among wrestling fans, there was a tendency to defend their favorites. I've noticed that, there are people to this day that will defend Chris Benoit. And I don't understand that at all. I think, dude, motherfucker murdered his family. If I'm going to mourn anybody from that whole incident, it's going to be Nancy and Daniel. And I've said that before. Yes, Chris Benoit was a great wrestler. Yes, he was a great performer. But he's also a murderer. And that kind of outweighs him being a good performer. It's kind of like Roman Polanski. He's like, yeah, I mean, Rosemary's Baby, great movie, but he still sodomized a 13-year-old, so, and that's kind of fucked up. But, Steve Austin, same thing. It's like, yeah, Austin's one of the biggest stars of all time, but he's also a wife beater, and, personally, I don't have a whole lot of respect for that, but people will always defend their favorites and make anybody who tries to say otherwise make them look like bad guys or whatever, and I guess wrestling fans have a hard time separating the performer from, or the performances that they appreciate and love, and they have a hard time separating the artist from the human being sometimes. I don't know. And their love for the artist kind of outweighs their appreciation of the human being, I guess. And I sound like I'm rambling, but whatever. And there are people on the internet, because Austin Aries is an internet darling, that are defending him. And personally, my take on it, I don't think he maliciously meant to sexually harass her or humiliate her or anything like that. I don't think he had any malicious intent. I think he was just playing his character and trying to improvise and make the botch on her part, make the botch work and be a fun part of the show. I think that's what he was trying to do. I don't think he intentionally meant to hurt her. That said, she's not a mind reader, and she doesn't know what he's doing in that instance. And, when somebody's improvising and you don't know that they're improvising, and, she has no idea. She had no idea what he was going to do with that. So I don't blame her for feeling a little intimidated and a little bothered by what happened. And but as far as I know, Christy hasn't really come out and say anything like really, really bad about it, except for one tweet that alluded to it. So I don't know, but I don't think Austin Aries meant any harm by it, but he did do harm, and it was just, I think it was just the performer making a bad decision, trying to make something work, and you see it with stand-up comics a lot, or even just people in general, where they try to make a joke, and the joke falls flat and just really offends people. And I don't think any harm was meant by it, but it still happened, so hopefully they deal with this in a way that's appropriate. I don't think Austin Aries should be fired. I've heard that thrown around that, he should be fired. And it's like, I don't think he should be fired. But, if Jack Swagger got to keep his job, if we're going to use that as a standard, it was like, come on, I think Austin Aries should keep his job at least. But if they want to fine him, if they want him to apologize, make some kind of a public apology about it, that's all well and good. That's fine. According to Dixie Carter, they've already dealt with it. I don't know what that means. Apparently, Spike TV said that they were going to deal with it in some way. Again, I don't know what that means. But yeah, I do think Austin Aries should be punished in some way, just to kind of set the precedent that, that kind of, there are boundaries, and there are certain lines that you don't cross, and, and shoving your crotch in a woman's face is not one of them. And again, I don't think he meant anything by that. I don't think he was deliberately trying to be abusive. But, it was a bad decision on his part. It happened, and hopefully they do whatever punishment or solution to solve the problem and, move on from there. And hopefully nothing like this ever happens again. And, again, I don't, I don't hate Austin Aries for this or anything like that, because like I said, I don't think he meant anything malicious by it. I think he was just trying to make the botch work and make it part of the show, which is the sign of a good improver if you can take a botch and make it work as part of the show. But that time it didn't really work, and I think he just crossed the line there and made a bad call. So hopefully he can apologize, or if they want to fine him or whatever, maybe even suspend him briefly. Whatever they want to do, and hopefully they can get it solved and we can move past it. It won't be that big of a deal in the near future. But that's all I have for now. Hope you all enjoy Extreme Rules this weekend. I'm going to be checking it out, so hopefully we get a good show out of it. That's pretty much all I got. So, yeah, I'll see you all next week, everybody.